Thank all of you. It's great to be up here with you today on a beautiful day, and it is Valentine's Day, so please don't forget. And I know I'm speaking to the men because the ladies never forget. So don't forget to do something today for Valentine's Day. Thank y'all for inviting me to be up here with you. I want to thank your president, Mr. Glenn Benton, but also the executive director, Guy Cormier, and really all of you for what you do. And I know we're joined today by some individuals like Beryl Peacock, State Senator. Thank you very much, Beryl, for being here. Also, my good friend Foster Campbell sitting back in the back with, there you are. Thank you very much, Foster, for your service as well. And I look out here and I see Coach Montgomery. Thank you very much, Coach, for being with us today. I want to tell you that I stand before you excited about where we are in the state of Louisiana, the distance we've come over the last 4 years, the distance I think we're going to continue to travel. And I am very mindful, you don't have to tell me we still have challenges, but the fact of the matter is we're in a better, stronger position to meet those challenges. And I want to share some of the news that I have with you about what I think we can expect. First of all, I want to make sure that we have the very best possible working relationship over this next 4 years. And we had a great one over the first 4 years as well. What I recognize is that every constituent of yours is a constituent of mine. And so the degree to which we can work together, that will determine how effective we are in serving our constituents. And so we need to be good partners. We need to make sure that we're communicating well, and that where we can, we're providing assistance and resources, and we're going to continue to do that from the governor's office. The relationships we forge, I believe, truly impact the success of our communities. And I'm dedicated to deepening that partnership during my second term. I want to start by telling you we're much stronger than we were 4 years ago. 4 years ago right now, the REC met, and they said, Mr. Governor, we're sorry to tell you this, but you got a $2 billion budget deficit, the largest in the history of our state. And we dealt with that on a bipartisan basis. It wasn't easy. There are no good decisions that you can make that enjoy the support of everybody, but you have to take decisive action. We were able to do that in a bipartisan way, and we have subsequently had 3 consecutive surpluses. And so we're just in a much better place in the state of Louisiana. We're able to invest in our critical priorities. And I hope you recognize that I never sought to balance the budget of the state of Louisiana on the backs of local government, because that's something that we could have done. It was something that I rejected. You know, we are investing again in higher education, K through 12 education, early childhood education. We gave our teachers the first pay raise in a decade. The economy today in the state of Louisiana is certified by the Bureau of Economic Analysis out of Washington, D.C. as the largest it has ever been, and is growing at the 4th fastest rate in the United States of America. Over the last 4 years, we landed 216 economic development projects, delivering more than 40,800 new jobs, retaining more than 36,000 existing jobs, and bringing in capital investment of more than $42 billion. And these project wins were located in 52 of our 64 parishes. That's exciting to me too, because our statewide economic development efforts are paying dividends all over the state of Louisiana. And again, we've accomplished quite a lot. I know we still have more work to do. There's still challenges out there. One of the things I hope you will recognize is that I gave local government a voice in the industrial tax exemption program, because every single dollar that gets exempted is a tax dollar that would otherwise go to local government, not a single dollar for state government. But for 80 years, the industrial tax exemption program was on autopilot. It was 100% exemption for 10 years. Without any input from local government, it was not tied to job creation. So we changed that to make sure that you have the ability to weigh in and make sure that it makes sense for your areas. You get to vote on that. We tied it to jobs created or a compelling case for jobs retained. And the exemption now is 80% for 2 5-year terms, not 10 years, and not 100%. And so you heard in the campaign some people saying, oh, he killed the industrial tax exemption program. Let me tell you what killing the program looks like, if that's what I did. In the last 4 years, the capital investment in the ITEP program in the aggregate, $103 billion. The last 4 years of my predecessor, $51 billion. So the program actually doubled in size, but it did so in a way that is much better balanced, that gives you a seat at the table, and will allow you to have more resources to make sure you're delivering critical services, that you're maintaining and delivering more infrastructure, and so forth. And so I'm excited about where we are with the industrial tax exemption program. We're in a much better place. And this is another area where we have tried to be really, really good partners with you all. And I want to thank you for your support of that approach to the ITEP. You know, we have a goal in Louisiana to make Louisiana the most job-ready workforce in the United States of America. That obviously starts with education. That's why we're investing more at all levels, including early childhood, K through 12, higher ed. In the second term, we're going to continue to focus on those investments. And the highest priority for me in the second term with respect to education will be early childhood education. 90% of a person's brain development happens before they are 4 years old. And if you wait till they're 4 years old or older before you engage them, you've waited too late. And a third of the kids who start school in Louisiana, they're not ready for school, and they're behind their peers in other states. And so this is why it's a critical investment. I'm determined to do it. We invested $20 million more last year. We're going to invest $25 million more this year, plus a $33 million grant that we have for the next 3 years. There's an oak tree planted at the governor's mansion in 2003 while Mike Foster was governor, and I was walking through the yard the other day and I happened to notice a plaque. I had not seen it before. And it says, college begins with early childhood education. And I really believe that that is right. And another big aspect of the pipeline to prosperity is ensuring that it reaches every parish in Louisiana, regardless of its size or its geography. As governor, I've had the tremendous privilege, especially during the campaign, of traveling all across the great state, meeting with the wonderful people, the good, decent, generous, hardworking people of Louisiana, from north to south and everywhere in between. And I am acutely aware when talking to people that rural Louisiana often feels left behind. There are challenges there that we don't see elsewhere. And by the way, this is not unique to Louisiana. This is happening all over the country. But we're not responsible for what happens all over the country. We are responsible for doing what we can here in Louisiana. And we have to make sure that there are opportunities for success and prosperity everywhere. And making sure also that people don't lack the basic necessities like health care, education, economic development, or even broadband internet. While the state's biggest populations may be concentrated in our largest cities, over half of our 64 parishes are classified as rural. These are widespread problems affecting a large portion of our state. Now, one thing that we have been able to do, and that I'm proud of, quite frankly, is in the state of Louisiana, unlike states all across the South, we have not had a single hospital to close. No rural hospitals have closed. And if you have a hospital that closes, if you have a hospital to close, it's very hard to get people to move into your community or to invest in your community. So that is one thing that we've done right. We were able to do that primarily because of two things: the Rural Hospital Preservation Act, but it also works in concert with the Medicaid expansion. And through the Medicaid expansion, we've been able to save over $300 million of general fund. That's one of the ways we help deal with the deficit. But also, we've got the uninsured rate in Louisiana at the lowest it has ever been, 8%, and it's lower than the national average. But really importantly, we have not had a single hospital to close in Louisiana. So that's something that is actually supporting rural areas all across the state of Louisiana, not just providing life-saving health care, although that's critically important, but in many rural communities, the hospitals are the largest employers. And that payroll makes a tremendous difference to the economy of those parishes. So that brings me to the announcement that I'm excited to make today. And I chose this meeting of the Police Jury Association of Louisiana intentionally to make this particular announcement, because I know that it will impact so many of the places that you call home and your constituents. When I'm finished with this speech today, I'm going to sign an executive order creating the Governor's Advisory Council on Rural Revitalization. And this will be a statewide coordinated effort to invigorate our rural communities, ensure that all people across all 64 parishes have equal opportunities for success. And I'm very happy to have with me today my longtime friend and the biggest champion I know for rural Louisiana, former state senator Ben Nevers. And he will be the chair of this task force that I'm creating. And I want to thank you, Ben Nevers, for taking this role on. And I look forward to the work you're going to do over the next year and beyond. The rest of the council will be comprised of a wide range of designees from state agencies, elected officials, and relevant coalitions, including the Police Jury Association. The council will begin work by focusing on a strategic plan that will be presented no later than January of next year. And we're going to address everything from broadband and infrastructure to economic development, more opportunities for apprenticeship, dual enrollment. We're going to continue to make sure that the economic development project wins are spread across the state of Louisiana. You know, just yesterday we announced that E.I. Williams Industries will create 100 new jobs in Webster Parish with a $700,000 capital investment. For rural communities, relatively small investments like this make a tremendous impact and actually can have a bigger impact on a small rural area than some of the largest economic development project wins elsewhere. So I'm really excited that in 2017 we landed the biggest and best economic development project win in our state's history. It's on Poydras Street in New Orleans, 2,000 direct jobs with DXC technology. But I'm equally excited about the 75 jobs we're going to deliver to Lake Providence, Louisiana, and East Carroll Parish with Epic Piping out at the port, because those jobs are going to an area that needs them the most. And so this is going to be our focus over the second term. The rural communities are important to our state. The people who make up those communities are important to us all. And this council is going to work to ensure that we have a well-rounded approach to breathing new life into rural Louisiana. And I know that I'm standing in front of a lot of leaders. And I want to thank you for your service. Because, not just because of everything you do, which is incredibly important, but because you're choosing to do it at probably the most difficult time there's ever been to be in public service. You know, I think the internet is a wonderful thing. I'm not so sure about social media. And you all know what I'm talking about. But you have chosen to serve in a very difficult time. And I'm looking forward to continue working with you all to make sure we're moving forward and not backwards. And one of the things that we can do to better serve the people that we are elected to serve is focus on cybersecurity. And I want to really make this point with you today. This is the new normal. It's not a question of if you're going to be hit with a cyber attack. It's a question of when. And between now and then, do everything you can to upgrade your system, implement safeguards, protect your data, store it behind a firewall, make sure the firewall is properly configured and all that sort of stuff. Because what you don't want to do is go to work one Monday morning, turn on your computer, and you find out you don't have access to anything, and on your screen is going to be a ransom demand telling you if you want to get back to work and you want your data back, you got to pay in Bitcoin some amount. First of all, I'm asking you, don't pay those ransom, because if nobody pays it, then their business model fails. Secondly, call us. We will do everything we can to help you, working through the National Guard, working through Office of Technology Services, the state police, and so forth. But I'm also asking you to do everything you can between now and then to make sure that any attacks are unsuccessful. This is the new normal. But I want in Louisiana the new normal to also be that we are the most ready, prepared for these types of attacks. I also want to make sure that you help me with something else. This is 2020. It's time for the decennial census that happens every 10 years. It is really important that everybody is counted. There are so many decisions that are based on the flow of resources from the federal government in particular that are based on what the census numbers are for the state and for different areas within the state. And so we need to make sure everyone is counted. I'm asking you to go back and help us promote the census participation so that we get the most complete and accurate count that we can. This will be one of the most important things that we can do to help our state and your communities in 2020. And so I'm asking you to do that. You can contact my office if you need help with promoting the census and so forth. And when you contact my office, I hope you know that I've got two people primarily designated to deal with you all, and one is Toy Taylor, who is not with us here today, and y'all need to please, I would ask you to offer a prayer up because he's home tending to a family emergency. But we also have Roderick Scott, who is here with you. And if you don't, there's Roderick over here. If you don't have their numbers, you need to get their numbers. And if you have an issue with the governor's office or you need some help, please don't hesitate to reach out to Toy and to Roderick. Please know that my door is always open. Your concerns are important to me. And I'll kind of wrap up where I started. I can't do the best job serving my constituents across the state if I'm not a good partner with you and giving you the resources that you need to serve them as best we can together. And so that partnership is important, that communication is important, and I'm asking you not to hesitate to reach out to us if we can be of assistance to you. So thank you again for letting me speak with you today. I hope you're as excited about the future of Louisiana as I am. And I know that with your support, with your prayers, with our work, we are going to be successful. And with that, I'm going to sit down and sign the executive order that will officially create the Governor's Advisory Council on Rural Revitalization. Okay.